All right, that is music to my ears because baseball is back, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, it's time for us to resume our talks with our good friends at the Cleveland Guardians. And with me this morning is Bobby DiBiasio. Good morning, Bob. How you doing this morning?
Hey, good morning, Pam. Hey, happy opening day.
I know. I'm so excited. It feels like just a few short months ago we were, wrapping things up and talked to next season, and here we are.
Yep, can't wait. The one beautiful thing about the game of baseball is, the daily drama over a 6 month regular season that is so unique to our sport, which I think makes it the best game on the planet. And it all starts tonight in Seattle.
Yeah. So I have to ask you first off about the rule changes and the pitch clock, and tell me how that went in spring training and what the players were thinking about it.
Well, it's pretty interesting. There were a few things that just popped right away with the pitch clock. First and foremost, it's a misnomer, I believe, that it's called a pitch clock. That's the one thing that we all were wondering, simply because it should be called the batter clock. The batter, we found out, was Stephen Kwan in, like, I think the second game of spring training. He had 2 strikes on him, and he's in the batter's box. But the umpire didn't think he was engaged with the pitcher when the clock hit 8 seconds. The batter has to be engaged with the pitcher at the 8 second mark. The pitcher doesn't have to throw the ball to the 1 second mark. So it's almost truly a batter clock. So the umpire thought he wasn't engaged, so he called a strike, which happened to be the 3rd strike, and he was struck out. And Steven just stood there, and all of us in the stands and Tito were like, okay, there's a learning lesson early on in spring. The pace of play is phenomenal. I think, this is year 45 for me in this crazy business, 44 with my beloved hometown team. And I have never seen the collective positive response from everybody in baseball about these rule changes. Never before.
Wow.
You get some curmudgeon old writers, you get the curmudgeon old managers or coaches or the players who've been around, even Max Scherzer, who you thought, oh my goodness, here's a guy that's gonna, just rip the pitch clock, batter clock. And he embraced it immediately, saying it's wonderful. You have 15 seconds to deliver the pitch once the ball is thrown from the catcher and the pitcher receives it. 20 seconds with people on base. And so the collective baseball world, all in favor of the new rules. So I think the pace of play, 2 things, Pam, that came about. One is, if you're a fan of listening to SpongeBob SquarePants, when Oscar comes to the plate, there's only like 5 notes that,
oh my gosh,
instead of the whole song. It's just a whole different feel. So the fans were talking about that, saying, hey, we missed the walk-up songs in their entirety. And then, man, you go to the concession stand, we better be ready in every major league ballpark around America, because people were standing in line for more than 2 innings getting a hot dog and a beer. And because, there were some half innings that lasted 90 seconds.
Oh my God.
It was crazy. But I think overall we cut. It was funny. I mentioned this phrase to somebody, so I have to think of a new one. I said, what we did in baseball is cut the excess fat, the non-baseball stuff. And the guy goes, hey, the excess fat's where all the flavor is.
Yeah.
I said, all right.
Isn't that true? Yeah. Because baseball's a game of rituals, and players have rituals. And so that comes to an end for them. So
it'll
be an adjustment.
Yeah. Well, James Karinchak and bobbling the ball on the mound and, having to reduce the number of times he does that and getting ready. But truly, we've gotten rid of a lot of the non-baseball stuff. And it has the pace of play, which was the whole focus, not time of game. It's pace of play. The larger bases hopefully will get teams running a little more with us. We were third in the league in stolen bases, or second in the league, third in all of baseball in stolen bases last year. So the shorter distance between first and second and third should help a team like us to run a little bit more. So I think overall, well received.
So let's talk about strengths and weaknesses here. If you could give me a couple of on each side, what are we looking at?
Well, it's interesting. All these preseason prognosticators have the Guardians with the 10th best offense in baseball, which I found really interesting. We hadn't been ranked that high in a while on the offensive side. Certainly on the pitching side, we have. So the new fun things, Josh Bell, who you're familiar with, just a wonderful young man, right in the middle of switch hitting power hitter, right in the middle of our lineup. Should be an incredible addition, batting behind Jose Ramirez and in front of Josh Naylor. Mike Zunino behind the plate, another new addition, and that's about it, as this is a team that's pretty stable and the continuity there. The same people ranking the offense did not have our pitching staff in the top 10, which I found interesting because we're built on pitching and certainly on defense, as we have 4 Gold Glovers on the defense. So consistency on the hill, consistency at the plate. We know we're going to run and be aggressive, and we know we'll catch the ball, which puts us in every game we play because we can pitch it. So same, the way we went about our business last year, we'll just continue to play the same brand of baseball again.
So weaknesses, any concerns for you?
Well, with Tristan going down, that takes a little bit of a bite out of what we think was a really good starting 5. So that's one of the issues. As far as weaknesses, we're a team that, we're not all home run or bust kind of team. So we're a team that just puts the pressure on the defense. So I don't know if we have a real weakness. We're not a perfect baseball team. I just think maybe if you think about it, the expectations are obviously 180-degree different than what they were a year ago.
Yeah.
When we went into this season last year was, all right, let's see what young players can make a major league impact. And then this young team just bonded and just took off and won 90-plus games. Let's see how a young team reacts to having, certain national writers picking them to win the World Series.
Yeah. And targets on their backs, right?
Yeah. And the fact that, everybody thinks they'll win the division. So how does a young team handle that set of expectations for the very first time? And that's a real thing. And so I wouldn't call it a weakness. I just think it's something for us to just watch how they go about things.
Yeah, a challenge.
But we got a good manager to keep them in line.
That's right. Well, next week we'll chat more about what's going to happen on opening day, and I know Rosie will be joining us with us as well, and looking forward to that. Glad to have you back, Bob. Happy opening day.
Always great to see you. Yeah, we decided to let Rosie sleep in a little bit in Seattle this morning, and he'll do next week. But yeah, it's so fun to get rolling again, Pam. Can't wait. Happy opening day.
Appreciate it, Bob. Thank you.
Go Guardians.